All right, we are going to start with cartilage today. Cartilage is more of a rigid connective tissue than what we've talked about in the past, even your dense connective tissue. It's stronger and stuff, but it's not comparable to cartilage. Different functions include support, providing attachment sites for other connective tissues, protecting other parts of your body, even helping your bones develop. All of your bones that you see or that you have, you don't really get to see them, but thankfully, are there because they started out as cartilage when you were a fetus. The composition of the matrix itself is collagenous fibers that are embedded in more of a ground substance. I don't know why that's going off to the side, but it is. It should say ground substance. Cartilage cells are called chondrocytes, and they're located in these kind of openings that are called lacunae. There's small chambers within it. They contain the chondrocytes. Located around the outside of the cartilage itself is the perichondrium. Okay, it's just basically another kind of connective tissue that covers and protects the cartilage. And the cartilage is one of those connective tissues that lack a lot of blood vessels. They have just enough to keep it alive. And so that's why if you tear your cartilage, it takes a super duper long time to heal. Okay? That's why if you tear like a ligament even, it's going to take a long time to heal. Your meniscus and your knee, it's going to take a really super long time to heal. And so a lot of times they do surgery instead to repair that because it takes your body so long because there is no adequate blood supply, so there's no tissues that can get into there. There's no extra oxygen, that kind of stuff that your body needs in order to repair itself. There's three types of cartilage: hyaline, elastic, and fibrocartilage. Hyaline is the most common type. It's composed of very fine collagenous fibers. Very fine means thin in its extracellular matrix. It's going to be at the ends of your bones. It's a soft part of your nose, the part that you can kind of wiggle around. It also supports the rings of your respiratory passageways. So, like for instance, your trachea, that's your windpipe. You can feel that in your throat. That consists of your hyaline cartilage. These they're C-shaped rings. They don't go all the way around. They're not a complete circle because your esophagus has to fit in the back there, but they keep your respiratory passages from collapsing. This is also the type of cartilage that forms the embryos and fetuses' skeleton before ossification or the formation of bone starts. Elastic cartilage is composed of a dense network of elastic fibers in its extracellular matrix. It's also part of your in your larynx. That's your voice box. It also is your ear. Okay, the part of your ear that you can feel inside of your head consists of this elastic cartilage. Fibrocartilage is composed of large collagenous fibers, and you're going to find it. It's the discs of cartilage between each one of your vertebrae in your back. It's in your knee joints. It's what forms the meniscus. It helps to cushion it. It's also in the pelvic girdle, in the front where the two pubis bones would join together. There's a disc of fibrocartilage. Just allows for a little bit more flexibility and compression, especially during childbirth. Our next connective tissue is bone. Bone is the strongest or most durable of the connective tissues. It's capable of being that hard because of mineral salts like calcium phosphate, and it's got a wide variety of functions. Obviously, it's going to support your other body structures. It's going to provide a framework and an attachment site for muscles. It's also involved in storing calcium. Your body needs calcium for muscle contraction as well as other functions. It also produces your blood cells, okay, in the bone marrow. And so bone itself is formed by special cells called osteoblasts. They basically start out, they secrete this bony matrix. It consists of your calcium phosphate all the way around it. And when the osteoblast is completely surrounded by bone, it's referred to as a mature bone cell called an osteocyte. Lamellae are these thin layers of the bone that's formed by the osteoblasts. And the osteoblasts are located in little tubes called haversian canals. They also have the lacunae, like what we kind of saw, similar to with the chondrocytes or the cartilage cells. And compact bone is composed of these osteons, which is a cylinder-shaped unit of compact bone, and each of those contains a central canal, a lamellae, and all of these osteocytes. Okay, that started out as osteoblasts. So when you get that extra calcium in your diet, those osteoblasts can use that to help form bone tissue. The central canal of an osteon contains blood vessels and nerves. Okay, it's a passageway. Your bone is very much alive, so it needs that nourishment. That's why bones actually tend to heal much more rapidly than torn cartilage, because they do have their own blood supply. Canaliculi are these small little tubes that allow for nutrients to get to the osteocytes, those cells. If we go back and look at the bone tissue right here, this picture, I'm going to move it down so you can kind of see. Grab a pen. Okay, this part right here is that central canal. These little dark spots out here, those are where the osteocytes are located. Those are in the lacunae and stuff, and so there's teeny tiny little canaliculi that come off of that and stuff, and so this whole rounded thing right there is referred to as the osteon. Okay, and you can see another one over there. There's its central canal, and then again, these are all the lacuna containing osteocytes. Okay, I'll get you back to this slide. Then if we go on, our last, I think we're to that point, our last connective tissue is blood. Blood is composed of cells that are suspended in a fluid extracellular matrix called plasma. It's your only fluid tissue that's found in your body. The plasma is what we call the fluid part of the blood. It's composed mostly of water, some electrolytes, and then suspended in that blood are different cells. You've got your red blood cells, your white blood cells, and they have different functions. Your red blood cells are going to transport gases. It transports both oxygen and carbon dioxide with the help of the protein hemoglobin. Your white blood cells, there's different kinds of white blood cells. We'll talk about the different types when we actually get to our unit on blood. But the white blood cells help to fight infections that are caused by a wide variety of things, whether it's parasitic worms, bacteria. And then you have your cellular fragments. These are little small tiny pieces of cellular debris called platelets, and they're responsible for helping to clot your blood when you have an injury. Okay? If you've cut yourself, that kind of thing, then you actually want to produce a blood clot.